Hello, my neurospicy lovelies. How are you? We're into a new year, we're into 2023, and I thought I'd better stick with my goals for this year and actually make a video for us all. So, today's video is about the cycle of burnout with ADHD. Burnout used to be something that was thought about as a work related problem. But I think anyone who has small kids would tell you that this is not just a work-related issue, this is a human issue, an everything issue. And people with ADHD or autism are more susceptible to burnout. So I'll let you know exactly what burnout is. This is a definition of it, and I'm going to read it off a bit of paper here. Burnout is a state of emotional, mental, and often physical exhaustion brought on by prolonged or repeated stress. Now, that's from the Psychology Today website. So that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. So let's crack on with it, will we? And remember, if you like this, hit the subscribe button. This channel's growing slowly but surely. And share it with your friends if you know anyone else that you think will benefit from this. What is burnout? As I say, it used to be thought that it was really just a work-related stress. So if you're working too many hours, if you're juggling too many tasks, if you're not taking regular breaks, if you are lacking in support. But doesn't that sound like just everyday life? If you are a stay-at-home parent looking after small children, you are working long hours. You are juggling many tasks. You may lack support, especially over the last couple of years when we have been locked down from COVID. You are unlikely to be able to take much of a break. But this also happens in the workplace as well, and far too often, in my opinion, that we are experiencing this. So some of the symptoms you might see from burnout are things like they say compassion fatigue, and it's like an apathy. So it's not like you're depressed, it's more like you just don't really care. You've just had enough, your brain cannot cope with any more getting piled on top of you, and you lose that ability to care about the people that you're meant to be looking after as a parent, as a partner, as a son or daughter. You could be mistreating people, and this tends to be people who are more subordinate to you. So if you're a manager, you could be shouting at people that are subordinate to you. So, you're too icy, or the people that are at the bottom of the rung. If you are a parent, you might get really snappy with your child, or an elderly parent if you're looking after them. There's a lot of fatigue and exhaustion involved in this. Now, this can be mental and physical. So you might just find that mentally you are not capable of dealing with the things that you used to be able to do. Physically, you might be needing an awful lot more rests. Depression can quite often go hand in hand with this because you just don't know when this is going to stop. When are you going to get that break? When is this going to alleviate? You have a loss of sense or of purpose, or you feel like you're lacking in that feeling of joy in your life. And it can also lead on to physical health issues. I mean, if you think about it, you're under a long period of stress, you can have problems with like high blood pressure, headaches, other physical issues, because you're probably not taking care of yourself as you should. You won't be eating properly, you won't be resting properly, or if you are resting, you're not getting the benefit from that rest. The question is, why do people with ADHD and autism suffer from burnout more than the rest of society? And I'm sorry, I don't have statistics on this. Well, there's actually a number of reasons. Societal expectations can be placed quite heavily on neurodiverse people, because although neurotypical people have become more aware of the fact that we're there, we're in their workplaces, we're in their schools, we're in their offices, we're in their families. Societal expectations don't really change when you have, I guess, what's called an invisible disability, unless you're pretty serious with it. So we're still expected to be able to do all the things that neurotypical people can do. And that doesn't always help us. We might not be able to do that at home, or we might not be able to do that at work, or we might not be able to put the effort into relationships that many people do. And we can feel shame or guilt with that sort of association. So say it takes you might have to stay back at work to finish your workload that the rest of the team are managing. Or at home, you're so exhausted from looking after the kids all day, or putting your all in at work or your studies, that at home you just can't do it and your house looks like a bomb's gone off. And this can lead to us feeling that sense of guilt and shame, and not wanting people over, not wanting to tell your boss that you're struggling, not wanting to tell your teachers or your professors that you need accommodations and extra help. And that guilt and shame can eat away at us, and it can also cause us to flip that switch to more perfectionist tendencies. So we could end up with our house being spotless, but having to take so much time and effort to keep it that way. It could lead to us working unrealistic hours to keep up with what we feel is the demands placed on us. And these can be physically and mentally exhausting. It's not particularly good for you to be like that. Oh, sorry, my dog's just, Dojo's just having a stretch there. With ADHD, whether you're inattentive or hyperactive, you have to constantly refocus on the task that you're doing, and that can also be very, very tiring. If you think about it like this, if you're standing doing the dishes and then remember that you have to take out the rubbish, you might have to force yourself to stay at the sink to finish the dishes and also remember to take out the rubbish. So you're almost doubling down on the task that you're doing, because you're having to do the task and you're having to stop yourself from changing task. Or if you do change task, then you have to remember to go back to the other task that you were doing originally. So you're basically fighting with your brain almost all the time to stay on track and stay focused on the one task that you're meant to be doing. And that's effectively 2 lots of work, as far as I'm concerned. The work that you're doing and the extra work you're having to do to complete that work. Our impulsivity can lead us to overcommitting. Now, that can be with tasks, that can be with appointments, that can be with meeting up with friends, whatever it is. We don't always take the time to consider that whether we can do this extra thing or not. And it leads to us having less downtime. It can lead to that stress, that anxiety, that guilt. It can make us want to, we feel bad if we have to postpone or go back and then say, no, I'm sorry, I've just realised that I can't help you out on this. Again, you're looking at the guilt and the shame and the wondering why on earth I've done that. Or you actually do all those things and then you're physically and mentally exhausted again and you're back to that burnout. And part of that is the executive functioning issues that we have when we're neurodiverse. We can be disorganised, we can be forgetful, we can procrastinate and not have enough time. And we don't always do things the same way or as efficiently as neurotypical do. And we might have to work twice as hard to keep on top of it. And again, yet another thing that leaves us exhausted. And then you have the times when you hyperfixate. And sometimes we actually enjoy this. We enjoy getting stuck into a new project. We might enjoy a project that we're doing. We might enjoy a task that we're actually doing. But the unhelpful part of that cycle can be that we forget to take a break, that we forget to eat, that we forget to take downtime, that we don't take weekends off. And eventually this catches up to us and we burn out again. And then we take that downtime to get back to a better level of energy. And then we're happy and we hyper focus and we go back into that cycle, which is super unhelpful. So what can we do to help ourselves as neurospicy people? The first thing is, I think you've got to be honest with yourself and think about where your struggles are. Get to know what causes your burnout, because we're all different. None of us are the same. And then if you can figure it out, take steps to minimize it. If you struggle to figure it out, maybe ask your friends, your partner, your workmates if they have noticed some things that you do, and ask the people that are going to be nice about it. Don't ask the office gossip or whoever's just going to bitch about it. Because there's no point in you going through these cycles of working extremely hard and then crashing, because it doesn't do you any good. It doesn't do you any good to live up to unrealistic expectations. So can you lower your expectations a bit? If you struggle with organising your tasks and overcommitting, what can you do about that? Well, one of the first things you can do, apart from asking yourself and being honest, is to rest. Now, resting is something that we need to do. It is a physical need. It's like eating, it's like drinking, it's like going to the bathroom. It's something that you have to do. You don't have to earn your rest. You need it. You deserve it every single day. Weekends, holidays, lunchtimes, make sure you take them. If you're finding that you're struggling with organising yourself and overcommitting, then try some different organising or planning systems. I know you're going to hate me for saying this. I know you are, because we all do the journals and the blah, blah, blah. But one thing I have found is out of sight is out of mind for neurodiverse people. So if you're going to try and do this, make sure it's something that's visible to you each day. If you work on a laptop, try and have a tablet or another screen open and have your calendar there so that you can see it and you can check it. You can use things like Asana. I think Notion is another one. There are other software options out there that will show you your days, your plans, your times. But that's only going to be effective if you use it. So make sure it's sitting there. I mean, I actually got, excuse me, a planner. My friend gave me effectively a diary. And I've written all my January things in here that I need to remember. And then I've got a weekly one and I've written it in. And it is sitting open on my desk so I don't forget it. Because if I put that away or closed it, the game's off. I just wouldn't go back and look at it. So if you're needing to do planning systems, just make sure that it's open, it's available to you, and it's part of your working day. Lower your expectations. As I said, maybe you're being unrealistic about what you can physically achieve. So lower your expectations. That could be that you get somebody else to help you doing chores, or that you get a cleaner in to help you once a month to do the bathrooms, that you don't take on as much work when you're in your paid job. Things, you don't need to be perfect. If you're not feeling good mentally or physically, you're not doing yourself any favours, and it will take you longer and longer to bounce back out of this burnout because of it. So yeah, don't be perfect. Remember, you can say no to things, even at work. You know, you don't need to say yes to everything. And if somebody asks you if you're able to do something, if you're able to go somewhere, even the fun stuff, people, I keep coming back to this, even the fun stuff, say, that sounds fantastic, or yeah, I'm interested in it, but I need to check my schedule, I need to check my diary, I need to check my workload, I'll get back to you. Practice saying it. Put it on a post-it, stick it on your laptop, stick it somewhere that you remember to see it, and say no. You know, what's the worst that's going to happen? If you have taken on too much, then either cancel things or speak to the people involved. Speak to your boss, speak to your co-workers, speak to your friends and say, look, I'm really sorry, I've taken on too much. I am not going to be able to do this. I either need extra time or can we reschedule? Again, people that know you will understand that you're not just slacking off. You need to look after your health. As I said before, take your breaks, take your lunch, take your, get up and move from your seat, take your weekends off. Don't be sitting looking at the laptop and the computer and things. If you've got kids, try and take an afternoon away from them every now and again. Take yourself off to the movies with a friend. Sit and read a book somewhere quiet. And at work, another way of taking a break is just to take a quick brain break. Quite often, I'll give myself an allotted task to do, and then I'll get up and move. Or I'll allow myself to watch a quick YouTube video, or I'll check social media. Whatever works for you, as long as it's not something that's going to suck you down that rabbit hole. If social media does that or YouTube does that, then obviously not a great idea. And the last thing I was going to suggest is try habit stacking to take the stress out of some things. So habit stacking is when you pair something new with something that you already do. So if you have a cuppa in the morning, or if you have a glass of water in the morning or whatever, you might start taking your morning meds with that, or you might do that when you're brushing your teeth or whatever. And that's a great way of remembering to do things. Let's back up a little bit because I got my ranty pants on there. As I said before, we are more prone as ADHD people, as neurodiverse people, to suffer burnout because our brains work differently to what society tells us. So I really hope that by going through this, it's given you an idea of why you might get that burnout more often than other people you know and what you can do about it. So if you do enjoy this video, again, I said it at the start, please hit the subscribe. It means so much to me. And tell friends that have got this, share this video. And I also just want to show you my new Neurospicy Ninja t-shirt. I made one for my son and I thought I'm going to have one too. And if you want one, I'll put a link below and it will take you to my Etsy shop. So stay spicy, people. I will speak to you soon.